Shalom l'kulam. Hi everybody. It's Rav Berg here from Mikdash. Welcome to all our Bogrot. So excited to see everyone, and welcome to our guests who are joining us for Parshat HaShavua this week. This week's Parsha, as you can see, is Parshat Truma. We learn about the Mishkan. Hashem in Yitro and Mishpatim gave us the Torah, and now in Truma Tetzaveh, Hashem tells us how to make a Mishkan. And our big question is, very obvious, why does Hashem want us to make a Mishkan? Hashem melo kol haaretz kvodo, Hashem is everywhere. Why should we make a Mishkan? So the Pasuk says, V'asu li Mikdash, v'shachanti betocham. Make a Mikdash for me and I'll be within you. Make a place for me and I will be with you in you. My Shekhinah, Hashem's presence will come down into this place. And so, we have many of the Mefarshim who speak about this very question. And the first sources we find is in the Midrash itself. Midrash, for example, on Midrash Haggadah, says the Midrash, Mitnei Ma, why do we need this? And tells the story of how Bnei Israel came to Hashem and he said, hey, Hashem, all the non-Jews have a tent for their king and fancy things for their king and a fancy palace. We want a place for you. So Hashem says, I don't need that. I'm above the physical. And so, no, they say, no, Ribbon Shalom, we're not asking for, we just want something tangible. We want something tangible in order to be able to come to. So Hashem says, Amar lehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Im kain, asu ma she'atem chafetzim. Do what you'd like to do. Ela asu ota kasher ani metzaveh etchem. But do it in a way that I command you. And then Hashem gives us the list of the different things we have to do in order to make the Mishkan. Ramban has a totally different approach. Ramban here is fascinating. Ramban, in his commentary on these psukim, Ramban, in great detail, as you can imagine, Ramban from 700 years ago says the following: Sod HaMishkan hu sheyeh kavod asher shachan al har Sinai shochen alav b'nistar ko shene'emar vayishkon vayishken kvod Hashem al har Sinai. So what does he say? The kvod Hashem, this revelation of Hashem that was on Har Sinai, will be permanently on the Mishkan. Once again, the Mishkan is a mini Har Sinai. And that, later on, we'll talk about how it transfers to the Beit HaMikdash. We find many other sources, and one of them is the Malbim, who lived 120 years ago in Europe. And the Malbim tells us, Kol echad ve'echad yivnei Mikdash b'chadrei libo. What's the question? The question is, the Pasuk says, V'asu li Mikdash v'shachanti betocham. It says, make a Mikdash for me and I will dwell within you. It should say, V'asu li Mikdash v'shachanti betocho, I'll dwell in the Mishkan. No. It says, V'asu li Mikdash v'shachanti betocham. And so he says, Kol echad yivnei lo Mikdash b'chadrei libo. Each one of us has to build a Beit HaMikdash in the rooms of our heart. Each one of us has to prepare ourselves to be a Mishkan to Hashem. Ma'oz l'shchunat zo, a stronghold for Hashem's Shekhinah. And the Kotzker Rebbe said the same thing. Fully Mikdash v'shanti b'tocham. Where will the Mikdash be? Where will the Shekhinah be? Wherever you let him come into. And so, in order to build that Mikdash, we have to first have Hashem in our hearts. The Malbim goes on and says an even deeper idea. He says each one of us has to have a mizbeach, an altar. La'alot kol chekei nafsho l'Hashem. He has to elevate in this little Beit HaMikdash. Each one of us is a little Beit HaMikdash. We have to elevate all the parts of our soul to Hashem. And so we're ready to give over Hashem, to our soul to Hashem at every moment. We have the famous song we all sing, Bilvavi Mishkan Evne. I would like to build a Mishkan in my heart. And at the end we say, I'll take this permanent light, and I'll take the light of Akedat Yitzchak, and I'll sacrifice my soul to Hashem, and say, I would like to be a Beit HaMikdash, a little Beit HaMikdash. And so each one of us is a Beit HaMikdash. We go further, and in Masechet Tubot, we told about the Sheva Brachot, the Chatan and Kala have to say under the chuppah. We say, bless them under the chuppah. We say they should build a binyan adei ad, a building forever. In other words, each family, each Chatan or Kala who build a home, they build a home which is little Beit HaMikdash. Vasu li Mikdash v'shechanti b'tocham. Make for me a Mikdash, and I will dwell within that home. Isn't that nice? Each one of us is a Mishkan, has a little Beit HaMikdash in our hearts, and each home with a Chatan and Kala, husband and wife, they build a little Beit HaMikdash in their home that they build together. Let's go back to the Ramban. Ramban said that the Shekhinah that was on Har Sinai is in the Mishkan on a permanent basis. And once they built the temple, that Shekhinah that was in the Mishkan is now on the temple. Comes along the Rambam, Maimonides, in Mishneh Torah, Hilchot Avodah Beit HaBechira, and he says the most amazing thing. He says that even though the temple is destroyed, the Shekhinah is still on the temple, on the place of the temple, behind the Kotel. And he says, V'lama ani omer b'mikdash Yerushalayim kedusha, etc. He says, Kedushat Beit HaMikdash Yerushalayim, the holiness of Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, is because of the Shekhinah, Hashem's presence. V'Shekhinah eina b'teila, that Shekhinah never goes away. And he brings the pasuk, V'hashimotem mikdasheichem, I will destroy your Beit HaMikdash. And he brings along the Chachamim who say that even though the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, the Shekhinah is still there. And therefore we know on that mountain is Hashem's presence, even though there's no Beit HaMikdash. Isn't that amazing? When you go to the Kotel, you stand there and you realize you're standing before the Shekhinah. We'll end with the Kli Yakar from 400 years ago, who gives us a beautiful insight. And he says the following. We met Avram Avinu. Hashem says to Avram Avinu, Kum mitalech ba'aretz, walk in the land. Give it the chai etena ta'aretz hazot. I'll give you this land. And here we have an interesting pasuk. Hashem says, Kum mitalech ba'aretz, walk in the land, le'orka u'le'rochva, ki lecha etnena. He says to Hashem, Hashem says to him, Ki et kol ha'aretz asher ata ro'eh, lecha etnena zalcha ad olam. And before that, he says to him, Sana elecha. He says to Avram Avinu, pick up your eyes. Ra'eh min hamakom asher ata shama. Look from the place that you are. V'tzafona negma ked v'yama. Ki kol ha'aretz, because the land that I'm giving you, that you see, I'll give to you. And so we have an interesting question in the Kli Yakar. Kli Yakar asks the question, he says, hang on a minute, what's going on over here? Hashem tells him to walk in the land. Then Hashem tells him to look at the land. Ra'eh lecha, ra'eh, look at the land. What's it going on? What's going on over here? And so Hashem says that you have to walk in the land in order to acquire the land. Walking in the land, on your tiulim, on your ways, you acquire the land physically. But there's another way to acquire the land, and that's looking at the land. And so Hashem says to him, look at the land, and in that way you'll acquire the land spiritually. Comes along the Kli Yakar, and he says the most amazing thing. He says, Kol hamistakel b'makom hakadosh hahu. Anyone who looks at that holy place, miyad litlabesh ruach tara u'kedusha, straight away is enveloped with purity and holiness. Melech olam b'yofyo yitbarach techazen einav. He actually, as if he sees Hashem himself. And he can reach the level liknot shleimut, that same shleimut that Avram Avinu acquired. And so that holiness that was on Har Sinai went over the Shekhinah that was at Har Sinai went into the Mishkan. And later when Shlomo Melech built the temple, it is on the temple to this very day, even though the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed. And so that is what it's all about. We have to always remember that a Shekhinah is within Am Yisrael, and it And we can feel that when we come to Eretz Israel and stand at the Kotel and pray that Hashem should build the Beit HaMikdash soon as possible, as they say, bimhera b'yameinu. Have a Shabbat Shalom to everyone.